So the Empire article then went on to give us some information, and I read it. So if there's other stuff you guys want to talk about, I don't know if you both have read it,
Haven't read
but
it.
just pop it in here. But the main points that I picked out was Dave said Ahsoka's a wanderer at the beginning of the show. Now we know Ahsoka to be a wanderer, but I think we've all been curious as to like what's the starting point of the show? Like where do we
Right.
leave off? So we know it's post Rebels. We know it's around the time of the Mandalorian. So 4 to 5 years.
People are assuming that it's picking up right around where we leave off in Rebels, because there is an image that was released not like a couple days ago, and it is the exact same setup with like this almost scene for scene of how they ended at the last part of Rebels.
Yep.
In episode, and it's after episode 6, so it
Could that be a live action flashback to the end of Rebels?
No,
to
I
get
think
the
I think
stage
that's
set,
the I think that's the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah, and you know what I wonder too is, yeah, where does it take place? Does it have so Mando takes place what, like 9 years after the Battle of Endor?
4 to 5.
5 years.
5 years after
Oh, right,
6.
right. I was getting Kenobi mixed up because that was 9 years after episode 3, right? So 5 or 6 years later, we really have no idea where Rebels ended. All we know is, well, it's got to be about 5 or 6 years.
So it's right around the exact same time, because the last scene that we get when Ahsoka's like they're gonna go off, it says after the fall of the Death Star, like after Death Star 2 blows up or whatever. So you would and Hera's kid's like 5 or 6 by that point,
right?
So like, you would assume it's right around that exact same time.
I would love it if it starts at that moment.
When they make the decision to go off and find Ezra.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we've seen
which
I was just
Sabine is, well, they said in the article Sabine feels obligated. That is the exact word they used to find
in that
Ezra.
shot. Sabine has the short hair from the show,
Yep,
right.
But then in other shots we have Sabine with long hair.
Right.
So is it going to be like we do like a live action, like here we're going to set everything up, and then like 2 years later?
Well, so here's the thing. Sabine's hair is long in a picture of her looking at that hologram of Ezra.
Right.
So here's my headcanon, which worst possible thing to do, because then I'll be, disappointed because I'm wrong. I'm never really too disappointed. But I feel like she, as part of her, like she's looking at that hologram.
Yeah.
Ahsoka shows up and she's like, all right, I'm a warrior again, and cuts her hair and goes, and it's like, all right, uses a vibra blade or whatever, zip, pulls it off, then
lightsaber,
ready to go. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think we're gonna see like a little bit before the end of Rebels, and we'll pick up right at that end of Rebels with Ahsoka the White coming down.
Do you think there's Ahsoka the White? I love that. Do you think that there's with Sabine specific, the Moff Gideon story playing into Sabine being involved in this? Like, we know that Mandalorians have now taken back Mandalore. Moff Gideon held it. He had the Darksaber. I'm sure word gets around the galaxy. Is that going to play into it with Sabine at all?
Yeah, I mean, Sabine trained to use the Darksaber and then gave it up as sort of, a sense of obligation in a way. And then, so maybe that's why Bo-Katan shows up. Maybe there's some sort of, it'd be great for her to kind of face her and talk to her about it. Like, hey, you lost this Darksaber that I gave to you. But yeah, I think that there's, I thought the Gideon thing was going to go on longer, and there was going to be that direct connection to Sabine trying to get it back from him. So, but
I mean, the thing that I could see is that Bo could come and trying to recruit leaders of the different houses. Yeah. So technically Sabine is leader of House Wren. Yeah. I think she's like the last living. We technically don't know what happened to her mom.
Right.
So I mean, like maybe she wants her to come back and lead House Wren or help her recruit. Like that could be a possibility as well. I don't know. The one thing with Gideon though is like what happens. So Rebels ends right before Death Star happens. So it's right before right before A New
Hope.
It's right before A New Hope, but is it before Rogue One? So it's before Rogue One. So it ends right before Rogue One, and then we pick it up right after Empire. So like there's this whole time where like the Tears of a Thousand Suns, like that happened. All of that, like the glassing of Mandalore happened while Sabine was off planet.
Yep.
So like I would love to know, like, did she even know that it happened?